everybody, welcome to the Glide YouTube channel. This is our first official video. There's a commercial on our channel as well, which I guess you could say that was our first one, but we didn't really address anything or introduce our page or anything like that. So that's what we're going to do today so that you can get an idea of what you're going to see on our channel. And first off, we're brand spanking new, and so we're going with the cheap of the cheap here as far as uh, equipment and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. So just stick with us. You'll see some improvements in this as we go on, but I think that's probably pretty typical. Anyway, so my name is Leora Bain. I am the board chair and founder of Guiding Life to Independence Through Development and Education. I'm a registered nurse. I received both my bachelor's degree and received that from Ferris State University in 2015. And then in 2019, I secured my master's of nursing with an emphasis in leadership and healthcare systems. Upon receiving my degree, I wanted to pursue a dream that I've had for quite some time now, and that is Glide. So part of the reason that I want to launch Glide has to do with my own history in the foster care system. At a very young age, basically almost since the time I was born, I was removed from my biological parents' home and I was placed in foster care. And I was moved from one foster care home to another until I was about 7 years old, which I know isn't very old. In between the foster care homes, we as in my sister and I, we would constantly be moved back in with our mother, and she suffered from drug and alcohol addiction. So eventually we just always ended up back in the foster care system. And then in our last foster care home, we actually had an attorney come to us and tell us that if we were ever to be taken away again, first he told us we were going to our father's home. And then he said if we were ever to find ourselves in foster care again, we would never be able to come home, that we would be adopted out. And he proceeded to tell us that children our age were not very often adopted. And so there was a good chance that we would just end up in the foster care system until we were 18 years of age. So that was a very scary prospect for us. And basically what that resulted in is it resulted in me and my older sister making a pact that no matter what happened in our father's home, we would never tell anybody. And that was a protection for us because we felt that it was better to be with our family, people that we were familiar with, no matter what we endured. And we thought that at least then we would someday have a chance to be back with our mother, which sounds ridiculous, I know. I mean, she's an addict and she couldn't overcome that addiction, and we kept on ending up back in foster care, but for some reason we were just drawn to that mother-daughter relationship. So we constantly were seeking ways that we could be with our mother again. And so this was one of them. We made a pact that we would never ever tell anyone what happened in our father's home, and that ensured that we would never end up in foster care again. And so I was about 7 to 8 years old when I exited the foster care system. And from that point on, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail about my childhood, but I'm just going to fast forward. 15 years old, I met somebody, and we started having a relationship. I became pregnant. I was married to him at 16, and then basically that was jumping from the pan into the fire. It was a very abusive relationship. And so I ended up, long story short, homeless at 19 years of age. So from 19 to 22, I was homeless. And basically what that looked like was just couch surfing, sleeping on friends' couches whenever I was able, sleeping in families' houses if they would let me. So I spent some time with my biological mother, and that was a brief period of time. Spent some time with my older sister, also a fairly brief period of time. And I did things like I worked for a summer at Cedar Point, and they offer housing while you work there. So, and you work for a bonus at the end of the summer. So I thought, oh, this would be, a cool way to get back on my feet. Plus, I'd be able to have this experience of being at Cedar Point. So I did that for a summer. I stayed in homeless shelters, women's shelters, and also I had slept in my car a few times. And I would often go out to the bar, and I would meet up with somebody there and have some place to sleep here and there. And then I would have relationships every now and again. So I'd meet somebody, get into a relationship, and have a place to stay for a little while I was in that relationship. So things like that is kind of how I got through that period of being homeless. And the last final stretch of it, I moved in with my older sister, and I met somebody online, basically, and he lived in the Lansing area, and he was very much a huge part of helping me to get on my feet again. I stayed with him for a short period of time and ended up, while I was with him, getting my GED and starting classes for prerequisites for nursing. And then I was able to secure my own apartment, and once again was no longer homeless. So there was a lot that happened during that period of time that we're not going to get into today. I just wanted to kind of establish a little bit of a history there. So now, as a master's prepared registered nurse, I am just really considering ways that I can use my experiences to help others that I know are going through the same thing. And I know that there are hundreds of young adults that are not just in the foster care system, but they age out of the foster care system. And so basically what that means is that they turn 18 to 21 in the foster care system. So in some programs, youth can continue receiving services until they're 21 years of age. And for many of them, their services end once they turn 18. And what that means is that when a youth turns 18 in the foster care system, all of their supports are removed. So their foster parents are no longer receiving a stipends for them unless they pursue maintaining things like Medicaid. Then they lose that assistance as well. And in order for them to pursue that, they have to know that they need to pursue that, and they have to know that those supports are ending. So in many cases, they do know that supports are ending, but they really can't grasp or understand the magnitude of the supports that are ending. And so they really have no idea how to keep any of them going that they would qualify for. So that's some of the challenges that some youth will meet when they exit the foster care system. And it's just barely just grazing the tip of it, really. So guiding life to independence through development and education, we call it GLIDE for short. It's a nonprofit organization that has been founded. It was founded October 31st, 2018 officially, and we officially received our 501c3 status. So that basically means that we became a nonprofit, like a federally recognized nonprofit organization in June of 2019. And since then, we've just been building our brand. We're getting to know people in the community and hoping that they're getting to know us and they're getting to know our name and our logo and all that kind of stuff. And we're, also seeking support from the public as far as trying to get the funding that we need to get the physical location that we need in order to really start offering services. So the mission of our organization is working with community partners in Kent County, Michigan. We prepare former foster youth for the transition from foster care to independence. And basically what that means is that it's our goal to have our physical location, and we want to take youth in, provide them housing. That is the most basic need. And many programs that offer services to young adults that are exiting the foster care system, they don't stop at the housing. especially for this population, there is case management typically. There is a life skill component as well. And there's also an employment skills component. So that's basically what we want to do, but we want to take all of that another step higher. We want to take it to another level. So understanding the things that youths need when they come out of the foster care system is a huge piece to ensuring that we're meeting all of their needs. So some of that is based on my personal experience, and some of that is based on the experience of others, and some of it's based in research. So just taking all of those components, we have created a program that I believe is going to change a lot of lives. And so our big picture goal, what we really want to do is we want to purchase a hotel, conference center, and restaurant. And something like that would function in three ways. One, it would give us that housing component for our youth. Two, with the classrooms that would be available with the conference center spaces, we would be able to have all kinds of programming that would teach life skills and employment readiness skills. In addition to that, there's a large portion of the hotel, conference center, and the restaurant that would continue to function as a hotel, restaurant, and conference center. And that gives, number two, so you got the housing, number two, an on-site employment readiness training program. So when you think about all of the things that it takes to run a hotel, restaurant, and conference center, there are so many skills that can be learned by somebody who's just going into the workforce, and it can range in so many different passions and areas of interest. And so you think about customer service, you think about being a chef, a line cook, an event planner, a cake decorator, a caterer, a customer service representative, a housekeeper, maintenance, information technology person. You've got so many different things that it takes to run something of that capacity. And youths coming out of the foster care system would have an opportunity to work in every single one of those capacities. Not to mention, if we have one that is interested potentially in going into business or leadership, then they have the capacity to be able to follow management, upper executive level, all of the positions that a person is working in this hotel, restaurant, conference center would be open for a young adult to be able to come in and intern, follow, or even work and get a wage while they're in our program. So this is like awesome, how many skills youth could get in a program like this. So it's on site, right? So then in addition to that, because you have a large portion of that working as a fully functioning hotel, restaurant, and conference center, then you have a major self-funding mechanism. So right now, the way that homeless programs work is they are largely funded by federal grants, state grants, private donors, and public funds. So in this aspect, what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to create the first, 100% fully self-sustainable homeless program that will not be requiring those funds to continue functioning. So we do require those right now as we're launching. We are seeking grants and donations and that sort of a thing. And so you'll hear about that on our page, because in order to get the property that we need to be able to do what we want to do, we have to have money, right? And since we don't have that self-funding mechanism purchased, then we have to raise the money to be able to purchase that. We do have a location in mind, and we are looking at that right now. We need $520,000 just to come to the table with an offer. So that is what we're seeking to do right this very moment. So, channel content, what will you guys expect to see on our page? So, on our channel. So, right now, like I said, we are trying to raise funds to get that physical location. So, you're going to be hearing an awful lot about our Glide for Change virtual 5K event. And that event is our first major fundraiser. And so, I hope that you'll choose to be a part of it. And basically, what that is because of COVID-19 and not being able to do all the things in person that we might typically do, or organizations might typically do, we've decided to hold this virtual event. Because we're a new organization, people don't really know us, they're not really familiar with us. Uh, we knew that coming into this, it was going to be a struggle to get the attention from the public that we need in order to really make a go of this, right? So instead of making an event that other people will run, what we're doing is I'm running the event. So the board chair, me, I get to train and run for the 5K. So what I'm doing is I'd really love to get some content out there about the training and how it's going and what I'm doing. And now I've never run a 5K before. I've walked 5K, but I have never run a full 5K. And so training is something that's just kind of all new to me. So I'm seeking guidance from my viewers as we embark on this journey. Training tips and tricks would be fantastic. We'll be talking probably at some point. I hope to get my physical therapist on to talk to him and get some. So I'd love to talk to him about his approach to physical therapy, honestly, because he's not just your typical therapist that is focused on the physical mechanisms of your body and how it moves and that sort of thing. Yes, he does have a focus on that, but he also very much has a focus on how past traumas can affect our bodies, as we age. So I'd really love to get him on the channel and talk to him. So those are some of the things you can expect to see. You'll see preparation videos as I prepare for the 5K. You're going to potentially meet some sponsors and people that we have that are supporting the 5K. So I'm super excited about that. And then on November 1st at 10 a.m., I'll be running the 5K. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to get everything arranged so that we can do a live taping of that and share that with everybody. So that you guys can see the results of that and really be engaged in this 5K. Also, if you want to join us in our 5K, then you can do so in your own neighborhoods. I encourage you to do that. And you can take a picture of yourself, social media, hashtag Glide4, the number 4 change. So hashtag Glide4 change. And I will definitely see that. You can take a picture of yourself training, committing to the run. You can, take video offering me encouragement as I do this, because one of the things with a typical 5K is when you're running a 5K, you have people there cheering you on, right? And so with this virtual 5K, I'm going to be running this by myself. So, yeah, so I could use some people cheering me on. I need some cheerleaders. So if you guys want to do that, you can do that. So, and then in the future, we're also going to be having discussions about the foster care population. So we're going to want to talk about some of the myths of children in the foster care system. We're going to talk about some of the facts around children in the foster care system and those that are coming out of the foster care system. And we're going to, dispel some myths, and we're just going to have a good time with that, with just educating the public on what this population is truly facing. So then we're going to learn about what the population faces day to day. So we're talking about those who are aging out of the foster care system. So what do they face? And my hope is that we can get plenty of other people on our channel to interview and talk about their experiences coming out of the foster care system as well. You might also, I would imagine you're probably going to learn a lot about my experiences. I just grazed, the very surface of it today. So if there's anything else you guys want to know, you can also comment below, and I'd be more than happy to post what you want to see. So then let's see, we're also going to learn about how Glide is addressing this issue and how we're going to continue to address it. And we may even talk about learning how to overcome trauma. So that's something that I personally have, a very close, intimate experience with. And so I definitely would like to touch on that, because I imagine that some of the viewers that come by the page are going to have a history of trauma themselves. And so I'd love to talk about overcoming that and how I overcame that. And then we're going to learn about other organizations that come alongside us and help us. So as we continue our launching of the nonprofit organization, we are going to get community partners that are going to be coming alongside of us. So we'll learn about those community partners and their organizations and what they're doing to help this population. And then lastly, we want to know what you want to see. So do you want us to do maybe some vlogs on how to launch a nonprofit organization? Is that something that you're interested in? Do you want to have a camera crew follow me as I go and am engaged in activities to launch the organization, sitting down, having conversations with others from other organizations, that sort of thing, kind of like a reality TV kind of thing on how to launch a nonprofit organization? Is that something that would interest you? And anything else that comes to mind as you're watching our channel, if you have some thoughts or questions that come to mind that you would like to have some answers to, just comment below. And of course, share and subscribe to the page so that you can continue getting notifications of our content. And we're going to try and be fairly regular, especially during this 5K. I want to get regular content posted and be able to take advantage of the wealth of knowledge that I'm sure viewers will have as far as how to do this, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna die. Yeah. So yeah, if there's anything else you guys want to know, just put it in the comments below and we'll get there together. And I'll have to figure out like a really cool way to sign off or something. I don't know, but for now I'm just gonna say bye.